Not only that, but the day before Cornelius Smith was arrested, he ran into Govan. Govan was concerned. Govan was worried that Cornelius Smith had not been paid. And so what did he tell Smith? He told Smith that he was going to go to Privé to make sure Smith got his money. Privé is a lounge and restaurant that's affiliated with CMG artists.
But Hernandez Govan was the link between all of them. Hernandez knew Jook. Even if the order, if it did, that's still being investigated. But if the entire hit came from Jook, it was communicated to Govan, who then put it out to Justin and Cornelius. Hernandez Govan did that.
You shot's great, but you shot late. High 11. This is the Rundown Podcast.
I'm gonna give you the rundown.
Say man, hey man, it's OG Jucario. Now I'm back at you with another one. And in the case of the United States versus Hernandez Govan, the alleged mastermind in the murder, the hit, the paid assassination of young Dolph, aka Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., even if the hit did come from Big Jook, Jook the boss, the brother of Yo Gotti, right? The state is saying, well, it doesn't matter. Hernandez Govan got that order from Jook, right? And that's still being investigated. Did you catch that? Wowzers. So they're still investigating the murder of young Dolph during the trials that's going on. And as we heard in that clip, since it's still being investigated, who is being investigated, you guys? Well, y'all know they're going to say Gotti. Well, Gotti done already took to the studio and popped this shit. And he said he heard that people thought he got popped for a murder. But he didn't.
Oh, they thought I went down on us. I survived.
Wowzers. Yikes.
What took the stand and made a statement he want a man?
Because they sure said his name a lot in this trial. Way more times than they said it in the straight drop trial. Justin Johnson, because he was convicted first. Didn't hear Gotti's name too much. Didn't hear CMG too much. But this trial, yeah, they're trying to barbecue and stir fry the CMG name and basically say, hey, man, it's a RICO coming of some sort with these hits being put out. Are they investigating if these hits are still ongoing? All right. This conspiracy, they say, the state is saying the conspiracy is still ongoing. So it's still an investigation. Obviously, that's the whole point, right? If a conspiracy is here, obviously there's more people that obviously conspired to kill Dolph with these co-conspirators. And the courts, the state is alleging that Govan is the one, since he's on trial. This is solely about Govan's choices, as the state keeps bringing up. And Govan is the one that made the choice to get in on these hits that were put out on these paper route empire artists, and young Dolph being at the top of the chain. And even at some point, you'll hear that once questioned about the alleged bounty, the girlfriend of Cornelius Smith would basically tell us that she heard it was starting at $1 million at one time, then went down a little bit until it got to 100,000. So see, that's new information that we didn't hear in Justin Johnson straight drops trial at all about young Dolph's murder. And now, straight drop is doing his time as we speak, man. And now that we have Govan with all this evidence, and we shall go through the examples that the court came up with and the evidence they have, showing that Govan is guilty of all this here, and he stayed in contact with the shooters. He put them together. These guys didn't even know each other. Straight Drop and Cornelius Smith, right? Then the state's going to also show that Govan is being labeled the mastermind because they met up at his house several times to talk about this whole ordeal of this hit being put on these artists, right? Allegedly by Big Jook, who was going to be funding the whole hits on these paper route empire artists, and Dolph. Well, Govan is saying, you know, hey man, I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't the mastermind.
So Hopkins will tell us about another label, CMG, also known as Cocaine Music Group. He'll tell us about the history and the tension between these two labels. He'll tell us that CMG wanted Thornton as their own, but when he decided to pave his own way, when he decided to be self-made, he became CMG's enemy. You'll hear from Cornelius Smith. And this is when it all will click. Smith is a co-defendant. He'll tell you that he met Govan in 2021. They met through Smith's friend, Bobby Carter. And Smith has a couple of nicknames for Govan. He calls him Big Bro or Quet. Govan started out by selling drugs to Smith, pills more specifically. But that's not the only thing that Govan did. Govan chose Smith. And Govan chose him to do a job. Govan also chose Justin Johnson, another co-defendant, to do that same job. A job that ended in the life and death of Adolph Thornton Jr. He chose two desperate people. Smith, needing money, needing to support his family. Justin Johnson, an aspiring and up-and-coming rap artist that wanted to be on CMG's label, the very label that Govan had access to and was affiliated with. Smith will also talk about a meeting at Govan's house. The people present at that meeting were Smith, Govan, Justin Johnson, and Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook. Now, Jook is the number 2 person at the CMG label. Smith will tell you that Govan said that there was a bounty on Adolph Thornton's life. In fact, there were multiple bounties on PRE artists. Govan told Smith that there was a $100,000 bounty on Adolph Thornton's life, and that the money was good. The money was guaranteed if Smith and Johnson completed this job. So what did they do? What did the two desperate people do? They agreed. And Govan asked for a $10,000 cut from each of them. He chose to ask for this cut from each of them. And one thing that is important to note is that Smith and Johnson didn't even really know each other. But they knew Govan. Govan was the link between them. So let's fast forward to November 2021. Smith hears that Thornton and other PRE artists are in town. It's Thanksgiving time. PRE often hosts turkey drives at different locations across the city. So they knew that they were around. Justin Johnson picks up Smith from Smith's father's house, and they go hunting. They get to a stoplight on Airways, and at that stoplight, they see a special car pass through. And what is that car? A blue camouflage Corvette. Most people in Memphis know that there is only one person in this city that drives that car in this region of town. Adolph Thornton. So what does Smith and what does Johnson do? They follow that car. They follow that car. The car parks at Makita's cookie shop. And seconds later, Smith and Johnson pull up in a stolen white Mercedes, gun down, and kill Adolph Thornton Jr. in broad daylight.
And this new footage that's being dropped now, it's not new, but it's a different angle, as they say. It shows a little bit more, but not the actual shooting of Dolph, right? Cornelius did all the shooting. He's the one that jumped out the car from the passenger side with that Draco that he, testified he never shot before. Never even picked up that gun probably before. That's probably why he was, fiddling around with that thing before he got to actually, shooting Dolph with it. And he got shot. And it was stated that, straight drop got grazed.
Is this the cookie shop that you referred to?
Yes, ma'am.
And could you see who was inside of the cookie store from once you got out of the car?
Oh, once we pulled in, that's when I saw young Dolph like close to the glass, like he gonna bag up. That's when I saw where he was at, like location in the store. Where his location was inside the store.
Is this the person to which you're referring?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that you?
Yes, man, that was me that ran up, shooting inside the store.
Now, something very, very suspicious stood out to me, you guys. The lady who, checked Dolph out with his order of cookies, she seen all of this about to happen, right? And it looks like she was an older woman. Thought this was a younger girl, but no, this was an older lady. She did not warn Dolph or nothing. She didn't say nothing, okay? She just looked and put them cookies down and headed on to the back where the alleged cousin manager was back in the back with another younger girl, right? Allegedly, that's what we were told. And they were, wrapping up cookies. And from what, the story we were told, okay, by employee that worked at the cookie shop, she said that this alleged cousin manager that was there this, time of the incident, okay, and this happens to be, the nephew of the owners, all right, he supposedly had yelled, "Everybody get down." Well, how did he yell that if this lady was looking as if she only seen this? Marcus wasn't paying attention. Dolph wasn't paying attention. Dolph was on the phone. Had one phone in his hand, and obviously he was on one phone with his back turned. Marcus wasn't on point, right? But he did shoot, the individuals, straight drop, and Cornelius Smith. Well, grazed straight drop, but he shot Cornelius. Now, something about that cashier's movements is very suspicious. Because at the end of the day, she seen the gunman with this big-ass gun running up to the Makita's cookie store where she was working at the time. She did not think that these guys could run in the store and rob Dolph or the establishment. What made her so comfortable not to scream at all? That's suspicious. That's very, very, very suspicious. With all this money on the line, I don't trust nobody. All right? Who was all in on this conspiracy to get this money for the death of young Dolph? Because it's looking like, with the movements that I'm seeing, hey, something just ain't right, you guys. Man, that was cold-blooded. She didn't say nothing. Anyway, I digress. Well, I tell you what, how about you guys slide with me back to November 17, 2021, and let's take a look at how the chain of events took place and everything that was said at the time that had everybody all discombobulated and confused for years on how everything went down behind the scenes of Dolph's killing there at Makita's Cookies that made national news all over the world. Run it. TMZ released this footage of Dolph saying that it was the last time he was seen filling up his camo Corvette at the Marathon gas station right before heading over to Makita's homemade butter cookies. But that's a lie, because the last footage of Dolph seen alive should be at Makita's homemade butter cookies, pulling up to buy those cookies.
He dead.
Oh, they was in the bus line?
Cause he won't leave. You was gone.
You was gone. You was gone.
Yeah, all I heard was doom, 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 doom. And when I looked to the dog, shit, he was letting loose at them, and they was already shot up in there. You got cameras?
Yeah, we got cameras.
So, because they was right here on the lot.
Yeah. Man, they're crazy, man.
They saw him so many goddamn times.
I ain't shot that man up, man. Bro, these folks kill young dog, fool. Bro, they didn't kill young dog, bro. What the Bruh, ain't no way these folks just killed dog. Ain't no way these folks just straight came and ran down on Dolph. Dead ass. I figured it. That's what I'm saying. Bruh, no. These folks just straight kill young dog. But on me they killed dog. Kenny, you live. On me they just took dog.
Yeah, I heard the first one. No, the second one was loud.
They just did it, took Dolph out, fool. He was busting, but they ain't he was shooting back. His homeboy, they got him in the car now. Bro, I don't even know. I swear I don't even know, fool. That nigga just ran down in the car. I'm in the store. All I hear is loud. Doop, doop, doop. I run outside and he just dumping in the car, just scotting off. I don't know what's going on. I peeped that car though. When I first went in the store, I said it looked like Dolph car. Ain't no way, bro.
Oh, wait. I never seen no shit like this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my. say that Dolph. They say that Dolph. They say that Dolph.
And they left him out there too. That's his arm.
And now they want to block. Yeah. Man, I already got what I had to get. You were shooting. That's why paying attention. They were looking at the stove, trying to order food. I'm finna come here. Trying to get this view while they trying to cover some shit up. I want to see him on the stretcher to be for sure that's him. I ain't no witness. I ain't seen nothing. You hear me? I ain't seen nothing. Sit down, Kingston. I gotta go, yeah. They say that Dolph, they just killed him. I'm talking about they man was dead, yeah. I ain't never seen no shit like it. I'm talking about my first time out my whole life, ever seen some shit like this. My whole life. They want us to leave the scene and shit because they blocking us off this shit. Yeah, they just shot it. It was some just pull up and just let out over 50 shots. I'm talking about busting. I'm talking about I'm standing. We want to go down there, baby. We at the shells and me and my baby getting out the car, and I'm talking about before I even got to the door of the shells though, open up the door and shit. Bah, bah, I'm talking about all you hear gunshots. So I'm looking, I'm grabbing my baby to see where they coming from and shit. It's the cookie shop next door to the washer. They busting at them. I'm talking about busting. Number shots. 2 cars full of pull up all black. One car was a white two-door junk. I didn't see the other one, but I seen running and ducking and shit. And they was saying something about Dolph security guard was trying to help them or was doing something. But ain't no security guards up there. Ain't no security guard. Ain't nobody up there but just laying dead. And they say that Dolph car. So I don't know, but that's crazy. That really scared the out of me, real talk.
The rapper, whose real name was Adolph Thornton Jr., was murdered in front of a cookie shop on Airways in November.
Maurice drove up to see his workers raising their heads from ducking bullets, and the young man.
He was just distraught. He was hysterical. He was punching on the window, and because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know there was a body laying there, and I thought, matter of fact, I thought he had shot the place up himself. This kind of in a nightmare that we can't wake up from.
After their flagship bakery on Airways Boulevard became a murder scene, where longtime customer Adolph Young Dolph Thornton Jr. took his last breath. As usual, family members were running the store just after noon Wednesday when Dolph drove up in his camo Corvette. He didn't ask for his usual chocolate chip cookies and ice cream.
He got 2 lemon and 2 strawberry cookies.
The husband, who's one of the owners, and some staff members were actually there. So they witnessed, Dolph being murdered, but they also almost, could have been hurt themselves.
The husband, who's one of the owners, and some staff members were actually there. So they witnessed, Dolph being murdered, but they also almost, could have been hurt themselves.
Heard said her stepdad was ringing up Dolph's go-to order, 3 chocolate chip cookies and a scoop of ice cream, when someone drove up and started shooting.
We just got a phone call from my dad. He was in the store. He's one of the owners. And he just told us that somebody was shot. We didn't know who it was at first. We was just like, okay. I thought it was, one of the employees. So we was kind of distraught at the time. But, we heard my cousin in the background. He was just basically like, man, he gone. Somebody shot him. He gone. And I'm like, who gone? We just trying to figure out what was going on. And then you could hear my dad, he was just like, stay with me, Dolph. Just stay with me, brother. He kept saying it. So that's when we was like, okay, it was Dolph. So it was real fast. He said it was, my dad was just like, it was real fast. It was a real quick situation. So we real hurt by it.
So your dad, you were on the phone with your dad when it happened?
It wasn't when it happened. It was right after. He called us like directly after, the shots were fired and Dolph was hit.
And you can hear him saying, Dolph, stay with me.
Yeah, we heard him say that, and he was just, man.
Was it inside of your store or right outside?
Well, from what I was hearing, it was inside the store. It was inside the store. So, you know, it's...
And will Cornelius Smith just plea out, or will he go to trial? Being that he was the, key witness and shooter in the whole ordeal that turned into an informant, a snitch for the state. All because he said he wanted to cleanse his soul, right? He wanted to, make amends with God for this deadly, horrible, sin that he caused death upon somebody and, brought grief and heartache to somebody's family. So Cornelius is saying, hey, man, if I'm going down, basically, everybody is going with me.
You remember when I talked to you, it seems like a lifetime ago, where we talked about Gotti's Arthur Horn giving some money for your lawyer, and I asked you, are you on the team and all that, and you said you don't know what I'm talking about. You remember that? Okay, so I'm just going to play some audio for you. Sorry about this internet thing. I just want you to listen to it carefully and tell me if that's your voice.
That this was like, was the message given to you that like this is for you to be on their team and not talk?
Pretty much. Not really, but I guess by them making the payment, like, this will be like, just be cool, but since I've been...
And as far as you know, since you've obviously had enough TV knowledge or whatever, since you know who I am, you know for a fact that neither Gotti nor Mr. Jook have ever been questioned by the police, right?
Yeah, I did.
All right. And I know Mr. Jook died in 2024, about 2.5 years after the shooting, but you're not aware of them ever being questioned, even listening to what I just played for you, right?
No, I haven't talked to, I can't contact Jook or Gotti. I don't know them personally.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't know anything about the hit until Mr. Govan brought me in. He the one hired me to do the hits or whatever. I didn't know anything about paper. I have no hit. I didn't know anything about Justin Johnson. I met all that to Mr. Hernandez Govan, who's sitting right there.
All right. And Jook was supposed to give you the money. And you met him, and he told you he would.
No, Jook wasn't doing all the talking. Mr. Hernandez Govan was doing all the talking, like I said. Jook was like, put them phones outside, and he was just like shaking his head, like whatever he was saying, like the money gonna be good. That was Mr. Hernandez was talking. He was like, you know what I'm saying, this little C right here.
You remember saying that when you had this run-in with Jook just by chance, and he was doing all the talking about the hits. Assuming this is true.
Yeah, Govan was too. Mr. Hernandez Govan.
So what I'm hearing when you say it was just... And Jook also knew that Govan could have been a federal snitch. That's why he made you move the phones out.
I don't know nothing about that because I don't know Jook like that. I don't know what Jook knew about Mr. Hernandez Govan, but that was what I had heard, that he was a federal snitch, and every time somebody said that he'd shoot at him, so that's why I ain't believe him. So.
But you said earlier, about an hour or so ago, that even Jook knew about him being law enforcement, and that's why he made you take the phones outside.
That's what they said, but I don't know what Jook knew about him, because I don't know Jook like that, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I was assuming, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why he tell us to take the phone. That's what I was assuming.
And you're familiar with CMG, right?
I know the artists, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know them personally.
With regards to knowing Dolph and his music, you've heard of the song 100 Shots, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you know people have been trying to kill Dolph for 3 to 4 years prior to this, prior to you doing it.
Yeah.
All right, and you know that CMG had people all over the country trying to kill him. Los Angeles, Charlotte, etc. You know that, right? You read about it because you're a fan.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who it was or nothing like that. I don't know, but I know they've been having beef. I know them.
All right, and your Gotti's very successful, wealthy, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So of all the people that they could have hired to kill the biggest name in Memphis, they picked some no-name guy that sells a couple of pills on Bradley Street in Orange Mound to set you up to go kill somebody instead of paying some real professionals what they're doing, even though he's been shot at repeatedly in other places, right?
Yeah. come from Mr. Hernandez Govan. He was saying they ain't want nobody on their camp doing it, so that's why he had us
Okay.
on the team.
Yeah, Govan set it all up, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's how I met. That's how I knew about it. I ain't know nothing about it.
You didn't know nothing living in the streets that there was a price on Dolph's head, that he'd been shot at, even though you know
I know he been shot at him, been shot, but I didn't know that, like, to connect with Juke, to talk about, I do it, no. I do it, pick me, no. Mr. Hernandez Govan hired me to do the job.
And last, you were asked about a message that was sent to Jook in December, I believe, 2021. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am. I had looked, I forgot what website, but I sent him a message like, when he go in home, boy, let's see, man. I'm trying to get with you so I can get my money.
At times, would you sometimes use Angela's phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you have possibly use Angela's phone to send that message?
Yes, ma'am.
I have no further questions.
One of the shooters, Cornelius Smith, he got desperate. He wasn't getting paid, and he was wondering where his cash was at for killing Dolph. And he was supposed to get this $50,000 as promised, give Govan his 10, and go on about his way with the 40. Right? And I'm pretty sure he wasn't worried about Justin Johnson at this point, but this is where the problem came in. This is where Cornelius Smith, he DM'd, he messaged Big Jook. He went over Govan's head. And with this incriminating message he sent Big Jook on Instagram, allegedly, it says, "What up, big bruh? I'm trying to get with you. I'm Govan, little homie. You met me before. I've been trying to let you hear my music." Right? And that's, music. Yeah, right. If you don't mind, give me a call at 901-370-0185. So this is what little C, okay, Cornelius Smith sent to Big Jook. Went over Govan's head. He said, "Hey, man, y'all playing with my money. I'm going straight to Jook." You know what I'm saying? Jook noticed my work. You know, me and Justin, a.k.a. Straight Drop, put in that work, and now I need my reward. And Cornelius just wasn't getting paid. And that's another reason why, you know, this whole thing fell apart for the alleged co-conspirators in the murder of young Dolph.
And if it's okay, can I call you Cornelius?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Cornelius. You know an individual by the name of Hernandez Govan?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see that individual in the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you point to that individual and describe what he or she was wearing?
Man, right here with the white shirt on, black tie, bald head.
And I asked if the record reflects that the witness has identified the defendant. The record so reflects that the witness has identified the defendant. And how long have you known Mr. Govan?
I met him in 21, like mid-21, something like that.
Mid-21? So
like in the middle of 21.
When you met him, under what circumstances were you meeting him?
I met him through an individual named Bobby, buying pills at the time. I was just buying pills from him.
So at some point, Mr. Govan asked you if you wanted to make some extra money.
Make some money.
And how were you supposed to make extra money?
Well, he told me that, you know, it was a little bounty on a couple paper I had.
Okay, I ain't understand nothing you said.
It was a hit on, it was a hit at the time on a couple guys in paper I had or whatever.
Okay, and what were some of those individuals' names, if you can recall?
Paper Route Woo, Young Dolph. I don't know all the names because I ain't know exactly who they were.
At what point did he mention the actual bounties, as you say?
One night leaving getting some pills, he mentioned the prices on, you know, Woo had 50 on his head, Young Dolph had 100 on his head, somebody had 5 on their head, 10 on their head. He mentioned the prices too.
So it was it was almost like a catalog. This person cost this much. This person cost
telling
this
us
much.
who had the money on their head, who had the most money on their head,
And who had
price.
the
Dolph
most?
had the most money on his head.
And he had 100,000.
100,000 on his head.
And when you say his head,
I mean, if you kill young Dolph, you get $100,000.
Now, Cornelius Smith will tell us some more information that we didn't hear in Straight Drop's murder trial for young Dolph. Cornelius would tell us that, you know, in this same instance when they was trying to get at Dolph and, you know, get that bounty on Dolph's head for that 100,000, they also targeted a $50,000 target, which was Paper Route Wu. And Paper Route Wu was coming out of his house with his handgun in his hand, because obviously, you know, Wu knows how to move when he's out there in the dirty, treacherous, murderous streets of Memphis. And Cornelius Smith said he had been put up to this by Govan, and Govan gave him the gun. Wowzers. Yikes. So it looks like they tried to score the 50 ball first on Wu, but Wu wasn't going and didn't go, right? Didn't even call the police. But Wu knew that, you know, these guys were out to get him. He called 911 and everything, according to the court records. But, yeah, man, Cornelius Smith, he testified that this was another instance that Hernandez Govan, once again, like the state is saying, it points right back to Govan with the Paper Route Wu situation as well. And also, like I said, man, could a RICO be in, you know, effect right now, because, you know, these are numerous and multiple hits, you know, that were put out on people. And I see why they're saying it's still under investigation, because Cornelius is steady talking. Cornelius is steady giving up information on that stand that we didn't, you know, hear before, right? And, you know, they're saying they have thousands of pages to discover. I wonder if a lot of this stuff, you know, is in the discovery, or isn't it? Because this is very interesting now that we see that it was just this big conspiracy and everybody was in on it. Like on that clip I played where the woman said at the laundromat it was a white Mustang, they went that way. I could see how she would say that now. Everybody was in on this. People were, you know, calling and telling, you know, Straight Drop and the other people, the other co-conspirators who was looking for Dolph, his whereabouts, gas stations and stores and things of that nature, restaurants probably, hotels, the Peabody, where a couple of people say they spotted Dolph. So I see how, you know, now looking back, how all these different vehicles were possibly, allegedly involved.
at some point you will testify that about the shooting of young Dolph. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to that, were you involved in any other shootings?
Well, one day, Mr. Govan had provided me with a gun, and he told us that Paper Route Rule was at home one day. So as we approached the house, with me, Bobby, Justin, and another guy, I don't know the other guy's name, Bobby dropped me off. I get out walking on foot. Paper Route Rule coming out the house, and he had his gun in his hand at the time, and I was walking up the street. And me and him had a shootout or whatever, and the gun he provided me had jammed up. So, you know, I had to duck and bob and weave, and Bobby had got to me. We got in the car and went back to his house and reported what had happened to him. And he was glad I ain't get killed that day right there. But Bobby was like, he wasn't messing with this stuff because he was believing what Justin them told him about. We messed it up or whatever, and we didn't have our masks on and all this. So Bobby felt that.
Was there an incident with Paper Route Rule that you're aware of prior to the incident where you were involved?
Nah, I don't know nothing else about no incident with Paper Route Rule. Just this shootout that I had with him, that's all I know about it. And Quick was saying that he was gonna get with Paper Route Rule mama or whatever to find out what they be about, you know, play up on the other, find out where, you know, who and them be is so we could reach out and touch them, find out where they is.
Was it just he was gonna see where Wu was, or was there other Paper Route?
Any one of them, like Wu, anything in paper route. He was gonna make sure that, you know, he could play because the mama liked him, so he was gonna try to play that father figure and, you know, find out where they at and make sure we could reach out and touch him.
So from when you met him in midsummer, the shooting with Paper Route Rule, how far from when you met him to when that shooting was?
I just can't recall, but it wasn't long after I met him though.
And was it a couple of days, couple of weeks?
I say a couple of weeks, probably about a month and a half or so. You know, I can't be specific about it. I ain't gonna lie like that.
Were you all looking for specific Paper Route Empire artists?
Yeah, we were looking for whoever we could find. So, you know, at the time like on certain days or what, like we were doing whatever we can. You know what I'm saying?
In regards to the bounty, were there other conversations about the bounty?
Well, after that incident with Paper Route Wood or whatever, and the gun jammed up, like, I think probably the next day I pulled up over Quick House or whatever and to buy some pills. And when I pulled up, it was a truck sitting in front of his house or whatever.
Okay, what kind of truck?
I can't remember. I ain't gonna lie.
Like an SUV truck or F-150 truck?
Like an SUV truck.
Okay.
But I pulled up and I got out and when he said he was sitting up there with Jook. And he was like, here go a little C right here. Here go C right here. So Jook was like, hold up, man. We ain't doing no talking around these phones, you know, take these phones outside.
Who said that?
Jook. Before we got to talking. He was telling him, like, we ain't talking around no phone, take the phones outside.
Who was he telling to take the
He
phones?
was telling Quick that.
Okay.
Take the phones outside.
And did Quick take y'all's phones outside?
Yeah, I gave him my phone. He set him outside on the trail or whatever. And came back in and was like, yeah, this little C right here, this was the one that, you know what I'm saying, shot your whoop. And,
hold on, you did a whole lot of whoop.
Well, you know, basically saying, this the one that shot it, whoop. And this one of the ones that I got to, you know what I'm saying, that I got on the business too. And Jook basically like nodding his head like, y'all gonna get y'all money, y'all handle y'all business, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna get y'all money.
What was person you described as Quick? What was Quick saying?
He was just letting him know that, you know, I was one of the ones that he got on the business, that he had to put the work in or whatever.
Okay.
That he hired for the
Because I'm gonna need you to slow that down. He the one that hired on the business to do what now?
To make one of these, get a hit, do the hit.
And as the prosecution slowly skewed Hernandez Govan over the barbecue grill, they presented the viral photo of Hernandez Govan and Big Jook. And the state asked Cornelius to identify the individuals in the picture. And he says that's Big Jook and Hernandez Govan, the two in question. Yikes. Wowzers. To show even more affiliation, the closeness that Govan and Big Jook, the boss, had with each other. Wow. This is crazy, you guys.
I'd like to pass you a photograph. Do you recognize the person in that photograph?
Yeah, it is Quick and Big Jook.
Okay. Your Honor, if we could have that photograph entered into evidence as the next number, you see. Say that if it doesn't work. But the individual you described as Jook, is he on the left or right of this photo?
From my angle, he's on the right, the big guy, right on the right.
He's on the right. And the individual on the left, who is that?
That's Quick.
And Jook is the person. Do you know his government name?
Nah, now since I've been locked up, Anthony Mills, since I've been locked up.
And Quick, you know it's Hernandez Govan.
Yeah, Hernandez Govan.
At some point, I'm sure you all exchanged phone numbers.
Me and Quick.
Okay.
I never had Juke number.
You never had Juke's number?
Nah, I never had no contact with Juke. Like, how to get in touch with Juke.
So any conversation about bounties went through Govan, is that correct?
Govan the one that did all the talking.
Was there another individual that was brought into this? Justin who?
Johnson.
Okay, and how did you meet Justin Johnson?
I met him through Quick as well.
At what point did you meet him through Quick?
Like around the time we did that, they hit on paper at Woo. When we went and shot at him, like that was like my first initial meet with him around that time.
And you said you met him through Quick or Mr. Govan. How did you meet him? Describe it.
When they found out that Woo was at the house or whatever, me and Bobby would call, and he called Justin up too, and we all met up at his house.
And who was he?
Quick House. We all met up at Quick House, and me and Bobby jumped in one vehicle, and Justin and another guy jumped in another vehicle.
But he was putting you all together?
Yeah, Quick put all of us together.
Okay, and you didn't know Justin before this day?
No, ma'am.
Never seen him?
Never seen him, never met him, I knew nothing about him.
Could you describe for the jury what we're looking at here?
There's the video shoot of us at the house across the street from Quick House, across the street from Hernandez Govan house.
Who is this individual?
I don't know him.
Who is this?
It's Justin Jones.
Who is this individual?
I don't know who that is.
Who is this?
That's Hernandez Govan.
And who is this individual?
That's me right there.
Why did you have a mask on?
Because I wasn't part of their little crew, and, you know, I ain't want to bring no little beef upon myself. He asked me to be Quick. Hernandez Govan asked me to be in the video. That's why I'm standing, like, right behind him, because I ain't know none of them other guys.
Okay. And I didn't ask you, where is this house?
Across the street from Hernandez Govan house, where we'll park it, or hang out at. We'll park in front of his house and go to his house and hang out. Go to Hernandez Govan house.
Go to he, all right. You park in front of Govan's house.
We park at their house and to go over Mr. Hernandez Govan house and hang out.
But what I want to know is why those cameras on Govan's house wasn't brought up by Manny Aurora. You know why? Because he didn't want to talk about that. That's cold hard evidence that Govan had cameras pointing at that house where that Mercedes was dumped at, right? Probably the expedition that him being Cornelius Smith and Straight Drop got in that expedition that was parked across the street at that abandoned house, right? So all that would have shown on that video surveillance camera footage that Quit had on his house, because Cornelius said he had to call Quit and tell him, hey man, I'm about to walk over there in that backyard across the street. That's going to be me. Don't shoot at me. Finna go clean the car. He knew that Quit had video surveillance. What happened to that?
And tell me again what Quet said during these conversations.
Yeah, we had to like get rid of that car. We had to move that car, get rid of it.
Because y'all had put this car in a driveway on Bradley, right?
Yeah, right across the street from your house.
Right across the street from where Quet lived.
Right.
And he said y'all need to move this.
Yeah, we gotta burn that junk up. Gotta get rid of it.
Quit brought me in and set me up for the police to camp me, so might as well tell the truth. If we gonna tell the truth.
Okay. Did you tell Quet? Did you go by Quet's house?
Yeah, I had called Quit and told him that I was finna walk in their backyard so he'll know who walking over there. I ain't called him.
So you called him, you let him know. You walked through his backyard.
Not through his backyard. That I was finna walk in the backyard where the car was in.
Okay. Why would you need to tell Quet you were going to be at the car across the street?
Because he got cameras. So I ain't want to think nobody trying to get him or nothing to get shooting at me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Let him know what's up.
And just to be clear, does he have cameras on the abandoned house, or you're just saying shooting out from facing out from his house?
So Smith and Johnson are in this stolen white Mercedes. But where do they go? They go to ditch the car. They ditch the car, and we'll hear from Sergeant Dabney that the car was left at 1174 Bradley Street, which they later found out is directly across the street from the defendant's home. So what did he do next? Smith contacted Govan from Angela Arnold's phone and asked to meet so he could get his phone back. Not only that, but the day before Cornelius Smith was arrested, he ran into Govan. Govan was concerned. Govan was worried that Cornelius Smith had not been paid. And so what did he tell Smith? He told Smith that he was going to go to Privé to make sure Smith got his money. Privé is a lounge and restaurant that's affiliated with CMG artists. A choice to get two desperate people to agree to murder Adolph Thornton. A choice to guarantee them money. A choice to ask for a cut of that money. A choice to help one of the killers get his phone back after the murder. A choice to make sure that one of the killers got paid after the murder.
Govan's lawyers threw CMG all up under the 18-wheeler and the bus because he said, hey, well, why wasn't Jook questioned? Why wasn't Gotti questioned? Why only was my guy, Govan, questioned? Are y'all picking and choosing who y'all want to, pin this whole ordeal on? And even at some point, Govan's lawyer, Manny Aurora, says that Govan is the fall guy. Wow, sirs. Yes, really? Wow. So now we see why this whole thing is going like this. See, Orange Mountain Quet knew that they were going to try this, fall guy thing with him. Obviously, according to Manny Aurora, his lawyer. Now, we see Govan with a stern look on his face in court, like, yeah, thought y'all was going to get me, huh? Got a bad son of a bitch behind me representing me. And this is the same guy that's representing Lil Durk, right? Manny Aurora. Last time I checked.
Manny Aurora, known for defending high-profile clients like rapper Lil Durk and German con woman Anna Delvey Sorokin, is now representing Govan.
But anyway, so this is Govan's lawyer, man, Lil Durk's lawyer. And Manny Aurora tried his best, to make Govan, look as if he was disassociated with, Straight Drop and Jook and Cornelius Smith, but it always came right back to Govan as the state, demonstrated in the whole ordeal. Govan was all over this thing. Everything came right back to Govan, right? Especially with, one of the shooters, Cornelius Smith, that testified already and got Justin Johnson sent up the river for life, plus another life and another life. The lawyer for Govan, Manny Aurora, he came out swinging, and his response to what the state had to say in their opening statements about, Govan's connections to CMG, being that he had the straight, connect to Big Jook, and, Justin Johnson, Straight Drop, one of the shooters, wanted to be a CMG artist. This was his deal. If he, killed Dolph, he'll get a little money and also get a deal with CMG.
The AK-47 shooter, and God knows how many other shootings he's done, and he'll talk about it. I want you to listen to this.
It was one day me and Angela was out riding, and I wanted some X pills, so I went to Quit House to get the X pills from him, and Jook was over there. And when I walked in, there was one Quit told Jook, this little C right here, and mine little Jook was like, he done out on. First, he said, take all the phones outside, He didn't say my phone, he was saying quit phone, but I passed my phone to make it feel comfortable. So, took the phones outside, and Jook was like, hit him out of here, get him, and he got us. And I can't recall like exactly when it was, but that's what he said.
All right. So the state just told you to your face that Mr. Govan picked out 2 desperate people. Cornelius Smith, if you are to believe him, says in his statement, I just happened to be going by Quet's house, Govan's house, to buy some ecstasy pills with my girlfriend. Jook happened to be there. Doesn't say Quet said a word. Jook says there's a hit on everybody, and I got you, and Jook says, take the phones outside while I talk to you. Assuming you believe any of that's true. And the reason I ask you if you think any of that's true is the police never went to question Jook, a.k.a. Anthony Memphis, or Gotti, or any of the people with CMG. Never once even tried to do an interview. So this is as plain as day. Jook said do it. Quet didn't say anything. Quet lives in the poorest part of Memphis in Orange Mound, sells a few ecstasy pills to make a living, and hustles with some sports gambling. He's a nobody, and that's why I asked you about the peers. He's a throwaway that they can blame. Why did they not talk to Jook or anybody else with CMG? Ever. Now, Jook ended up getting killed in 2024, 2.5 years after the fact. Never arrested, never talked to, never interviewed, never pursued, never surveilled, nothing. We will tell you, there have been multiple attempts on Mr. Dolph's life. Twice in Charlotte by other folks, and once in Los Angeles. Everybody in Memphis knew there was a price on their head because there was a war between PRE and CMG. They were shooting each other. Gotti's car was shot up here. The song 100 Shots came up after one of these things. There's a rivalry going on, and people have been shooting. The police went through this. They know this. They also pulled YouTube videos where people are openly threatening to kill Dolph. It's in their slideshow. You know what they call their investigation? Operation Cookie Monster. That's how tasteful this whole thing has gotten with these folks. I'm sorry, my arms are shaking because I'm so furious that we're here as far as the trial goes. So the other thing the government hasn't told you when we talk about first impressions is, for weeks prior to the November 17, 2021 shooting, nobody called Govan, talked to him, did anything, be it Justin Johnson or Cornelius Smith. What Cornelius will tell you, which the government didn't tell you, is that morning, it was Cornelius's daughter's birthday. But he gets a call from Justin Johnson that says, I got a car, let's go do something. They get in the car and they start driving around, just looking for somebody to kill. They just happened to see young Dolph's car going by. And they open fire. And they kill him. And the interesting thing is, even though nobody communicated with Govan for weeks prior to this, they didn't talk to him that morning. He didn't help him get the car. He didn't help him escape. He didn't tell him what to do. He didn't tell him where to go. He didn't do anything. It was a spontaneous issue between 2 young men that morning. They left the car across the street from Govan's house on the middle of the street, in front of the street. So if there's some master plan, that may be one of the dumbest plans you could possibly have if you're going to kill the most important person, the most famous person in Memphis, as far as that goes. Again, there were no phone contacts for weeks prior to the shooting, especially in the morning. Govan wouldn't know that the Mercedes was used. The only way anybody finds out is social media blows up right away, and multiple people start calling Justin Johnson, including Govan, who knows him, because the word's out that Justin may have done this. And just because he's a nobody and doesn't have money, like Gotti or Jook, his brother, who was never even questioned or charged, he's the fall guy on all this stuff. He didn't do anything. Even if you believe Cornelius, all he says is, I just happened to show up there, and he said, hey, this is little C. Jook took over and started doing all the talking. Do you think that man could pay somebody $100,000 and you'd say, yeah, he's good for it. I don't need any validation. He's good for it. And interestingly enough, Cornelius' story also changes along with Angela's, because initially we were supposed to be paid $1.5 million. But then after another interview, it became $1 million. Then it became $500,000. Then it became $100,000. Then it became, we're going to split $100,000 between me and Justin Johnson. Then it became, somebody gave me $50,000 in a brown paper bag. Then it became, oh no, I'm wrong about that. It was after I was arrested, somebody gave my lawyer $38,000 in a bag to represent me. That's how many times the story has shifted, as far as that goes. But the one thing that he does say is, after I got the money from Mr. Jook's people, it was understood that he was on that team. Again, Jook never arrested, never talked to, even though he says that's where the money's coming from. That guy doesn't have $1 million or $100,000 or anything like that. Mr. Govan, stand up. Hold your head up high. Mr. Govan matters. You can't do this to people just for political gain because you got to solve a crime because somebody famous died. It's just wrong. But you can sit down. We can't have a society like this where you base convictions on assault rifle people. Opening up fire on somebody.
Cornelius Smith, the other shooter, he just wanted a couple of dollars and some pills, right? He was, willing to pay Govan some of the money, $10,000, from, doing the hit on Dolph out of his cut. So that was $20,000 that Orange Mound Quet, expecting to get from this whole ordeal, man. But as we seen, the state said that Quet only paid one of the shooters. And we know that that was Justin Johnson, being that Cornelius Smith said he never got paid except for $800. So you have the lawyer of Hernandez Govan finally tell the judge, hey, look, judge, my whole position on this, to sum it up, Aurora was telling the judge, look, man, Govan can't be the mastermind that y'all say he is because, you have Straight Drop over here making all these moves without Govan, right? He had a whole nother group of conspirators he was conspiring with, right? So, trying to, dissolve what Govan had going on in the whole scheme of things. But in reality, you have, a shooter, right? The killer of Dolph, one of the killers, Lil C, as he claims they call him in the street. Cornelius Smith saying, look, Govan put me up to this. Without, Govan, I would have never known about this hit for this moolah that they were promising me. I would have never known about this. No, I didn't know about a hit on Dolph. Okay, until Govan brought me in on it. And that's what the state's position is. I want to play these clips so y'all get to see exactly the context that's, going on with this whole thing and how the conclusions and the arguments ended in the Hernandez Govan Young Dolph murder trial, leading up to the verdict.
The government's theory in this whole case is Mr. Govan has hired these two individuals to go shoot PRA members, and they're doing it as his direction, even though Jook's the hire for whatever he's doing it. My position is Mr. Johnson has his own connections, is doing it on his own, and therefore I'm trying to break the chain of the conspiracy, at least cast doubt on that, because there are clear text messages where he's identifying PRA members to other people. Either he's going to shoot them himself, has them shoot up the block, or we see Muchi Wu and they say pulling up. Whether the shooting took place or not, if you don't fire your gun, apparently it's not a shooting. So it's scared to points it on. But my point is this is happening and it undercuts this whole theory that Govan is sort of the ringleader of all this kind of stuff. And that's what I'm trying to get at because he's doing it over and over again in the exact conspiracy temper on his own.
And stay over here for
Actually, the state will withdraw our objection.
Uh-oh. That's something that must be in trouble.
Now, another thing I want to bring up is the simple fact that the state is saying that Govan is the one that linked up Straight Drop and Big Jook together because Straight Drop had just got out of jail in May. And believe it or not, him and Jook didn't know each other. Drop and Jook didn't affiliate with each other, apparently according to the court documents, until they exchanged numbers. And they have the evidence of Jook and Straight Drop exchanging numbers for the first time on record. So that leaves me to believe that, like they're saying, the state is saying that Hernandez Govan is the reason that, Drop and Jook, started, conspiring together to kill Dolph. And even at one time, Drop sent the turkey emoji the day before on November the 16th, right, 2021, letting him know, hey, we're on the hunt. We're at these turkey drives. trying to collect some of that money, that bounty that's on the PRE artists' heads. Wowzers. Yikes.
Are you kidding me right now? Spencer just called the whole city of Memphis stupid and dumb. Everybody from the DA to the police officers to the prosecutors, he called y'all dumb. Called everybody, all one of them dumb. Are you kidding me right now? This case is not about the prosecutor. This case is not about Jook. This case is not about Justin. This case is not about Cornelius. This case is about Hernandez Govan. He is the person on trial. Not the city of Memphis, not the DA, not the prosecutors, not you, Hernandez Govan. That's who we are here about today. That's what this proof has been about. Embarrassed. Who should be embarrassed? Hernandez Govan. He is the person that made the choice to get engaged in this conspiracy. He made that choice. We've talked about choices. There are a few things in life that we can control, and our choices are one of them. What choices did Hernandez Govan make? You've heard that over the last few days of the choices that he's made. His choices led us here today. All right, police, they say they didn't do a good job. Convenient story. Something, novel. Because they didn't arrest everybody has to be arrested for them to do a good job. There was a twofold investigation. Sergeant Browning and Sergeant Dabney both told you that. It's very convenient that that part was left out of the defense's argument. There's a twofold investigation. Homicide and MGU. Those are two different entities within the Memphis Police Department. There was an ongoing investigation. And as Ms. Williams mentioned in her closing statements, this is a conspiracy. It's ongoing. To let you know that they were still investigating, look at the call records. Look at when those call records were received. Now, defense will have you believe that, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of call records. There are. But guess what? You'll have access to all of that, and they're on a flash drive. You can search. You can put in the numbers that were given to you. When things happen, what happened with those calls. They're there for you. There's no hiding. There's no putting them aside. They're there for you to look at. So I wanted to clear up that misstatement. The focus at the time of the incident, November 17, 2021, was on a homicide. It was not on who went to AutoZone or who went to Pressure World. The focus was on a homicide. A person was dead. The defense never mentioned that we are talking about a dead person. Dead. It's everybody's issue and fault but Hernandez Govan. The police didn't kill Adolph Thornton. Cornelius and Justin killed Adolph Thornton. But who put them together? Hernandez Govan. Look at the PowerPoint presentation that Sergeant Browning provided. It has communications that contact log was put in there for Jook and Justin on the same day, about July 27th, around that time. They looked like they exchanged numbers. And if they knew each other before then, they wouldn't have had to exchange numbers. They would have already had each other's numbers. Look at that. Look at the call detail records of Cornelius Smith. You'll see about the first time he had contact in his phone anyway with Hernandez Govan was about July 25th, 2021. Around that time. All you have to do is plug the numbers in. It's not rocket science, as he'd have you believe. Hernandez Govan put these individuals together. In Govan's investigation, Govan's role in this conspiracy, as far as MPD was investigating, really didn't start until Angela Arnold gave a statement.
When you picked him up from the Tulane, you guys went somewhere in Detroit, am I right? In the mountain. Okay. Over there in Dedrick and David? Yeah. And somebody met you guys there and gave your boyfriend something. Your boyfriend went and picked up something.
Stop that. Play it again.
Okay.
Play it again and play it louder. Did you say I don't remember, right? When he asked you about picking up something with your boyfriend, he's sort of prompting you to whatever, and you say you don't remember. Is that correct? You don't have to speak up so the jury can hear you. Okay, let's go.
Over there, Dedrick and David? Yeah. And somebody met you guys there and gave your boyfriend something. Your boyfriend went and picked up something.
I don't remember, right? Yeah. Okay, keep going.
Okay, finish what you were doing.
It's Cornelius. He shot drop. He shot down for the drop.
Okay. Now, hold on before you go to that. Doing, you go to the store, you'll go somewhere, and he tells you to stop. Let me get something. He was missing something. Because when he called you, he didn't call you from his phone, did he? Right. He didn't call you from his phone to go pick him up from the Tulane. Whose phone did he call you from? Okay. And then, where did you, when you asked him whose fucking phone number is this? Alright. Didn't he tell you that he had to go get something? That he forgot something that he needed to go back and get? Right.
What did you say there? What did you say there when he said, did you say no, that you don't remember him saying you had to go get something?
I can't hear what he said.
Do you remember what you said?
No, I don't.
Play it again.
What phone number is this? Alright. Didn't he tell you that he had to go get something? That he forgot something that he needed to go back and get? Right.
All right, so when they ask you about having to go do anything, your first thing, and this is December 17th, exactly 30 days after the shooting, you said you don't remember to the police, right?
Yes.
And then they ask you, wasn't there something your boyfriend said that you forgot, or something that he needed to go get, or those kinds of things? They're prompting you, right, to tell you what you're supposed to say.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay. Let's talk about Govan. Play that clip, please.
He asked something, cause drop, he figured I knew something. He was like, "No, my girl don't know nothing. My girl don't know nothing." And what's this guy's name? He's saying right. The car was found across the street from his house.
What about him? He was asking what?
He
Tell me what's his name? You know his nickname? Was that a dope boy? Used to be a dope boy?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I don't. All I know is me used to go over his house and get some bills.
Okay. Okay.
You know what his name begins with?
Okay. What's the beginning letter of that person? Do you know?
I think it's Q. Does it begin with Q? It does? What is it? Okay.
All right, so a month after all this happens, they're asking you about something, because your memory was really good today about Quet, and you seemed very calm and collected about it. But back then when they asked you what the guy's name was, and you said Cornelius had already told you Quet or Govan had been doing it.
Yes.
But the police had to ask you over and over and over again and tell you, was it a guy with the initial Q, right, on Bradley Street?
Yeah, but I had forgot his name.
Okay, so you forgot his name 1 month after that, and 4 years later, you remember it perfectly.
Yes.
Now, if we are to believe anything Angela Arnold says, then we are to believe call records, which Sergeant Garner said they don't lie. They're the records. They are what they are. So we can't believe that. We're not supposed to believe Angela either. We're not supposed to believe anything that's happened. The records are what the records are. But they bring in Sergeant Coburn or Lieutenant Coburn. Officers are bad. They don't do a good job. But he wants you to, well, this officer did a great job. Just this one that we bring in. He did a great job. Cornelius will tell you, he didn't just get a whole thing of Clorox and pour it all over the car and wipe it down. He said he sprayed some substance on a towel and wiped. He was still hurt. It was in the dark. He was in a rush. He was scared probably that Govan was going to come out and shoot him or do something because he was across the street from his house. But you want us to, the defense wants you to believe that all the officers are bad, they did everything wrong, except that part. The investigation was ongoing. Look at the call records. Look at when they were done. And you can still investigate. And because you want someone arrested tomorrow, it doesn't mean the evidence is all there. At this point, Jook is dead. Bobby Carter's dead. Joshua Taylor's dead. We can't arrest them. We're not digging them up from the ground. They are dead. That point is dead. Browning just analyzed the numbers that were there. Garner said the records are what they are. They come from the phone company or from the phone. All Browning did was analyze it. To say, hey, these many calls came from this individual, this many contacts. That's all Browning was brought here to testify about. But because those records show Hernandez Govan communicating with the conspirators throughout the summer, throughout the fall, from July until November, well past November 17th, at least November 20th of 2021, oh, Browning's a liar too. And when all he did was analyze the records. The records were made by Mr. Govan. Defense also brought up that basically Justin Johnson had access to Jook on his own, basically. But we know that Govan made that connection. July 27, 2021. We know that. We see that in the call records. We see it. Govan already had Jook's information. Govan already had Justin's information. This was by July 27, 2021. Govan had Cornelius' information. Govan texts Justin address to Jook's smoke shop. And the contact was created between the two while they were there. But guess who did not have contact with Jook? Cornelius. He was a part of this conspiracy as well. And he got up here and he testified. And he told you that he really didn't have much contact with Jook. Guess who he was communicating with? Hernandez Govan. That's who he was communicating with. And let's look at the definition of conspiracy. You just have to create that at least with just one other person. So if you take defense at his word that Justin Johnson had other conspiracies going on and this was something separate, Hernandez Govan was still egging on Cornelius. He promised to get Cornelius paid. Cornelius didn't have direct access to Jook. He told you he was trying to still get his money. December 2nd, 2021, he sent a message from Angela Arnold's phone via Instagram messaging. He said he couldn't just straight out put that, hey man, I want my money. I did what I was supposed to do. He said he sent him a message trying to get his attention. A week later, he's arrested. But Hernandez Govan was the link between all of them. Hernandez knew Jook. Even if the order, if it did, that's still being investigated. But if the entire hit came from Jook, it was communicated to Govan, who then put it out to Justin and Cornelius. Hernandez Govan did that.
But wait, there's more. In the beginning, I played that clip where Manny Aurora said, you know, you don't remember you saying this, Cornelius? You said that they gave you some money just to shut you up, just to make you feel good and pacify you. And they told you that you were now on the team. And he said, yeah, you know, I figured they did that. You know, they gave me that little money. So, you know, I will, you know, shut up and, you know, not tell at the time. And that was this brown paper bag full of $40,000. Okay, so this is the same amount of money that he was supposed to get anyway for the hit. Ain't that something? So that mean, you know, he still got his $40,000, unlike he claimed, right? But he's saying he didn't get it in his hand. But your lawyer got the money. But Cornelius is saying, well, I didn't get it in my hand, so I didn't get the only thing I got in my hand was $800, $500 one time, and $300 one time. So, you know, that right there was, you know, crazy work, you know, nasty work. They didn't want to pay the guy, but, you know, they gave the money to the lawyer, allegedly, so Cornelius wouldn't talk. And that was verified on the stand. Now, you know, all this is very, very crazy because, you know, with the paper bag full of $40,000, that sounds just like something that this guy would do. Check it out. Run it.
With regards to Jook, did you all ever try to interview Jook?
Yes.
When did you try to do that?
When we executed a search warrant on his phone.
Okay.
When he was at the airport.
Okay. It wasn't indicated that you had talked to him anywhere in the police report, so lead detective said you guys never reached out to him. Is that incorrect?
I can tell you that they asked him, wanted to talk. Obviously, he said he had nothing to talk.
Okay, and did we do anything else after that?
We We wrote a search warrant and we did the phone extraction.
Okay. So the suspect that Mr. Cornelius said may have paid for his legal fees, all this other testimony we've heard, you went, even though the lead detective didn't know, you specifically went to talk to him and he said, no, I don't want to make a statement. This is my Fifth Amendment right.
Yeah, we executed a search warrant at the airport. I forget who it was, but somebody, either Freon or someone communicated with him to say, hey, you want to come talk? We knew what his response was going to be, and we knew what attorney he was going to tell us to talk to.
Well, that was just a few things that stuck out to me during the trial for Hernandez Govan, one of the alleged conspirators, or AKA the alleged mastermind in the young Dolph murder. Is all this enough to start a RICO, a CMG RICO? Who knows? And the verdict, it was in after 3 days of exhausting hours of evidence and testimony from witnesses in the case for young Dolph's murder. You had a jury of 12 who came up with a solid verdict, you guys. And breaking news rocked Memphis. Check it out. Run it.
This is breaking news.
Fox 13 bringing you breaking news. The jury has reached a verdict in the trial of Hernandez Govan. He is the man accused of organizing the murder of rap star young Dolph almost 4 years ago.
Yeah, that jury is being seated right now. Govan facing first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in the death of rap star young Dolph. As it turns out, this jury will have deliberated for right at 3 hours. A couple hours yesterday. It looks like about an hour or so today, and they have a verdict now.
Just a moment ago, the judge, Jennifer Mitchell, told the courtroom that if you cannot control your emotions, you need to step out right now. She said, we absolutely will not tolerate any outbursts. So just setting the stage for people on either side who are in that courtroom, you got to keep it calm and cool.
And there is Mr. Govan there standing between that man in the glasses and the woman there in the glasses to his left.
Let's listen in.
We, the jury, found the defendant Hernandez Govan not guilty in count 1 of the indictment. State of Tennessee versus Hernandez Govan, count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant Hernandez Govan not guilty in count 2 of the indictment. Ma'am.
Court's in session.
Ma'am. Ms. Johnson, is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your verdict? Yes. Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict? Yes, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you for your service this week. You've done exactly what the court asked you to do, which was to sit, listen to all the proof, and come to a decision. You are excused.
Jury is excused. Thank you.
Excuse me?
Go ahead, John. Court still in session.
Tearful, watching Hernandez Govan hug his attorneys, fight back tears, not guilty on both counts.
Now, Govan cried when he heard that verdict. Not guilty on all counts. He only had 2 counts, conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree murder of Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., is better known as Young Dolph. And now Hernandez Govan is a vindicated free man, all right? And, you know, this jury, they said, look, you know, we just can't see this evidence that, you know, y'all are saying y'all have this evidence saying he's the mastermind and he's behind everything that's, you know, related to this hit that was out on these artists over at Paper Route Empire. So obviously, you know, the jury didn't see it that way. The state put, you know, a hell of a argument down at the end. You know, she, you know, basically tied up all the loops and all the loose ends, but it just wasn't enough because that jury when Straight Drop was convicted was totally different than, and that was tried in a different county, may I add. Straight Drop's trial was. This trial right here, I think it was held in Shelby County, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, it just wasn't enough, okay? Because at the end of the day, the jury says, look, this man is not guilty. They were feeling what Manny Aurora was talking about the, being discriminated against and forced to take plea deals. Maybe that's what, all this hoopla was about when Govan didn't first go straight to trial because Govan refused to take that plea deal and he wanted to, possibly, get as less time as, they could give, but maybe that time that they offered still was a, pretty big stint of time he would have had to serve in prison, especially if he's saying that he's innocent of these things. And his lawyer did prove that, in fact, he's innocent, not guilty. Wowzers. Yikes. Now, I know the family of Dolph is, they upset because to them, this is not justice, right? This has been going on 4 years and there's been talks of, Govan being the mastermind or being involved in the conspiracy to the lease. And that still wasn't enough to, beyond a reasonable doubt to say that this man was guilty, right? So Govan is back out on the streets. And many are already saying that his life is in danger and that he's a dead man walking is what they're now saying. Okay, and it's all over the internet that Govan has basically marked himself for death. Yeah, he vindicated himself in the courts. Might be not guilty in there, but many people are saying and looking at the evidence like, hold on now. You mean to tell me he's not guilty? But in the streets, it's a whole different story, bucko. So I hope, Govan, does like he says he's going to do. In this interview, he says he's moving out of Memphis because it's definitely dangerous, especially after he done won this case, this young Dolph murder case.
The evidence, the way it was presented, the things that they didn't do as far as going to getting the video surveillance cameras, doing the call detail records where the tower hits and all that could have been done, and we could have avoided this nightmare.
What was the one point of discrediting Cornelius Smith?
You can't just pick one. I mean, the whole thing was a joke. Even down to the neighbor that he supposedly gave $500 to, none of it was true. None of it happened. I don't even know if they have the right car because there wasn't a drop of blood in that thing. They didn't wipe it down because the expert said no, there was no evidence of bleach in that car. Nothing that man said was true.
Jesse Browning's testimony, you proved that to be.
Was there one moment in which you just knew that we have this? Or are you always sort of on edge until that verdict comes through?
I'm always on edge because there's cases I thought I would have won easily and the jurors just get swayed by the publicity and the media. It's been so one-sided, calling him a mastermind. The press has been going crazy because only the DA talks. And that's the problem with our system, is because they make such a good first impression saying everybody's guilty that it's hard to get a fair trial. But thank God we got jurors. They took hundreds of pages of notes, and it didn't take them, 2 hours to figure out this was all garbage. This is what your justice is in Memphis. So if you're black and poor, you got a problem.
So this was
Mr. Govan, how do you feel?
Mr. Rohr, this is pro bono. I was unclear.
Feel great.
Yeah. Oh, it was.
To finally have this stress taken off your shoulders.
Yeah, to have my life back.
What is the first thing you plan to do?
Go hug my son.
Mr. Govan, you haven't smiled all this week, but obviously you have a lot to smile about. Just tell me just about what you're feeling in right now.
Like I said, it's kind of hard to explain the feeling of getting your life back, just from 12 people, so I'm just blessed, and I'm just ready to go see my son.
What was going through your head when you were waiting for the verdict this morning?
Nervousness, of course, it's natural, but I got a team around me that was very confident and supportive, so without them, it wouldn't be no me. I just want to thank again Manny, Robert, Haley, Beth, Handel, Contrail, Leanne, just everybody that played a part in proving my innocence.
You heard your attorney say if you're black and poor in Memphis, this is what happens. What would be your words of advice?
Leave Memphis.
Do you plan on leaving Memphis, sir?
Of course.
Was there any point throughout the week where you're like, you know what, I'm still nervous, prior to the verdict? Was there any point where it's like, I don't know which way it's going to go?
I've been nervous for 4 years.
How does it feel to be at the end of this 4-year journey that you've been on?
It feels great. Just feel like I've been born again. I get a chance to restart my life and do some positive things.
Do you think that this verdict will change how the court system is working here in Memphis?
As corrupt this system is, I doubt it.
Mr. Orr, do you think this verdict will change anything with the court system here in Memphis?
I'm not here from Memphis, but if this is a microcosm of what's going on, then you should all be worried. And maybe we should be digging into these things and figuring out why so many people are in jail, why we keep them without bond and force them into pleas and things of that nature, and why investigations aren't always there. Thankfully, my office has the resources to help these types of people and can spend the money to do it. I can only imagine how hard it is for the public defenders with their cases or other appointed lawyers that couldn't do this, and how many people shouldn't be in prison.
Oh, back in December, is that the reason? Obviously, you advised your client not to take that plea.
That's always his decision. I don't advise him to do anything. They always say, what would I do? And I'm like, I'm not serving the time, so I have no idea. I can't go through that stress. You can't duplicate that. I mean, I love the man. I believed in him. That's why I took the case. And we fought like hell for it. I'm grateful that the staff stayed with me. I yelled at them a lot this week and put a lot of pressure on them. We worked long nights for the last few months. We filed, I don't know how many, 24 motions, most of which were granted, which never happens. But it was so obvious we were right. And yet still we have a case. The government just can't ever admit that maybe there isn't anything here. They'll just prosecute, and then blame the jury if it doesn't go your way.
Scathing remarks from Manny Aurora, the lead defense attorney for Hernandez Govan. He said the whole thing was a joke. He said nothing that man said was true, talking about the star witness Cornelius Smith. Scathing.
Yeah, and probably most consequential thing that I heard there, Hernandez Govan saying, I've been nervous for the last 4 years, wondering what his life was going to be. Said he's incredibly happy to have his life back.
And then said, what do you plan to do? He indicated he planned to leave Memphis. But the first thing he wants to do is go see his son.
Now, Govan cried when he heard that verdict. Not guilty on all counts. He only had 2 counts, conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree murder of Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., is better known as Young Dolph. And now Hernandez Govan is a vindicated free man, all right? And, this jury, they said, look, we just can't see this evidence that, y'all are saying y'all have this evidence saying he's the mastermind and he's behind everything that's, related to this hit that was out on these artists over at Paper Route Empire. So obviously, the jury didn't see it that way. The state put, a hell of a argument down at the end. She, basically tied up all the loops and all the loose ends, but it just wasn't enough because, that jury, when Straight Drop was convicted, was totally different than, and that was tried in a different county, may I add. Straight Drop's trial was. This trial right here, I think it was held in Shelby County, if I'm not mistaken. The jury says, look, this man is not guilty. They were feeling what Manny Aurora was talking about the, being discriminated against and forced to take plea deals. Maybe that's what, all this hoopla was about when Govan didn't first go straight to trial because Govan refused to take that plea deal and he wanted to, possibly, get as less time as, they could give, but maybe that time that they offered still was a, pretty big stint of time he would have had to serve in prison, especially if he's saying that he's innocent of these things. And his lawyer did prove that, in fact, he's innocent, not guilty. Wowzers. Yikes. Now, I know the family of Dolph is, they upset because to them, this is not justice, right? This has been going on 4 years and there's been talks of, Govan being the mastermind or being involved in the conspiracy to the least. And that still wasn't enough to, beyond a reasonable doubt. to say that this man was guilty, right? So, Govan. Many are already saying that his life is in danger and that he's a dead man walking is what they're now saying, okay? And it's all over the internet that Govan has basically marked himself for death. Yeah, he vindicated himself in the courts. Might be not guilty in there, but many people are saying and looking at the evidence like, hold on now. You mean to tell me he's not guilty? But in the streets, it's a whole different story, bucko. So I hope, Govan, does like he says he's going to do. In this interview, he says he's moving out of Memphis because it's definitely dangerous, especially after he done won this case, this young Dolph murder case. Y'all get in the comment section and we can talk about it there. And until the next time, this is OG Jucario TV with the latest in rap, hip-hop, celebrity, and urban news. You're watching the Rundown Podcast. I appreciate everybody for spending with me. I appreciate all my subscribers for sliding with your boy every time. And say, hey man, keep hitting that like button, keep hitting that subscribe button, and look, turn on post notification so we can slide whenever I get the drop. You already know what it is, man. It's deeper than Buddha, you hear me? And guess what? I'm gone.